Devil You Know podcast.
I don't know any devil. What?
You know the devil. You with the horns and the tail.
We
And
don't believe in a devil. We're not even sure.
well, I'm sure there's no. It's a metaphor. It's a metaphor.
You know a devil. Is he the guy who owns the deli up the street?
So yeah, that's the Jews.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 77 of The Devil You Know. John, we're going to do something really strange here. I might even find out something about my own relationship.
We always do. Every time it's something different. Adam, what do we got?
So, gentlemen, this week we have the spouses of Satanists, and we have 4 guests who are not affiliated with the Church of Satan, other than the fact that their spouse is a member in good standing. So we have Jen, Lexi, Robert, and Lori. Please welcome them.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
I sleep with one of them.
Robert?
Yes, hi.
Awesome.
I sleep with one of them.
So,
All right.
let's ask someone.
Let's just start off at the top. Let's start off with maybe how I'm gonna go around like how people met here. Who are we at? I guess I'll start off with this. Since one of the guests here, Lexi, is my wife, so Lexi can tell you how she met me.
All right.
Okay, so my dad and I actually decided to go out to a bar one night on St. Patty's Day to watch one of my best friends. She was a singer in a band, and it just so happened that the band that she sang in and band, they were managed
Dorian's.
by whoops.
You have to say that on
Or
here.
by her band and Dorian's band were managed by the same lady. So we met at a bar, and yeah, we were completely wasted, and it actually worked out.
So you met him on an Irish Catholic holiday. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we met the American version of it, meaning drinky day.
Oh, heck yeah, heck yeah. Awesome. Let's go over to Jen. How about you?
Technically we met in 3rd grade, but we didn't start dating until
4th.
I guess we met through Facebook.
4th. That's funny. That's it?
Well, we met through Facebook. We went out for drinks, and then we were like married a month later.
Wow.
5 months later.
In the 4th grade?
Later. No.
They didn't have Facebook back then. That was MySpace. So, all right, great. Let's move on to, we'll let the ladies go first. Lori, how about you? When did you meet Zach?
Well, how did I meet him, or when did I meet him?
When and how?
Different.
Yes.
Well, I was at a corporate training class, and his best friend was there. She had a Nightmare Before Christmas shoebox, and she was sitting awkwardly all alone. And me, being like the social skills person, went up to the awkward person and said, "Hey, don't eat lunch alone. Come with me." And she said, "Gee, you look like Tori Amos. My best friend loves Tori Amos." And so I said, "Okay, well, I'm in a dry spell. Why not?" And that's how I met Zach. Or that's how I met my spouse. She hooked us up.
Thought he was meeting
together.
Tori Amos.
Wait, what?
You thought he was meeting Tori Amos?
He got hopeful, I think, but really it was a big letdown. Well, he was dressed like a neo-Nazi, so as a Jew, I was very I don't know if crucified is the word that I would use, but
What did he do? Goose step down the aisle?
Should I goose step down as a? Okay, this is getting heavy real quick. No, yeah, gonna niche goose stepping.
Great. Robert, how did you meet Lucian?
Wow, I can't even believe I'm saying this. It was 40 years ago, and
Ow.
Did they have cars
Yeah.
back then, or did you guys meet on horseback?
we were
With flowing hair on horseback.
I say.
Yeah, so we met through my was dating my best girlfriend from high school. Her name was Dory. Lucian, I mean.
Okay.
Oops.
I'll fix all that. Just move on.
Yeah. Take that out.
Yeah. Okay, so he was dating a friend of yours?
Yeah, and so I knew Lucian as my best friend's boyfriend for 8 years, and then a couple years after that, and that one thing led to another, and here we are, 40 years later. We just celebrated our 30th anniversary in February.
You recently got married, didn't you?
We did. We got married on our 30th anniversary, February 4th.
Awesome.
Nice.
Oh, my birthday.
Oh, cool.
It's a small
All
world.
right. Very cool. So let's bring in, I guess let's bring in the dreaded S word and find out, I guess, maybe how
Dun, dun,
people
dun.
felt about, because I think that there has to be a degree of, if you're with somebody who's claiming to be a Satanist, you have to be somewhat open to, or I guess maybe not too much on the other side religiously.
Yeah.
So I'd like to know maybe the reactions of people that maybe when they first heard, whether it was they were one or whether they were becoming. Jen, what was your reaction to Jared?
Yeah, did you know what it was about right away, or did you learn through him what it was about?
He didn't actually get into it until a couple years into our marriage. He started reading the books and everything. So when he first told me about it, I don't really think I thought too much about it. I just figured it was another book he was reading and didn't really take any interest in it. But once he explained to me what it was and everything, and then I read it, it's, I don't know.
There's no peer pressure here. We're not trying to convert, so.
I don't really remember what I thought about it in the beginning because I didn't really think it was anything he was serious about.
But it obviously wasn't a feeling of fuck this, you better knock it off.
Oh, no. I'm not. No. If he would have told me he wanted to go to church one Sunday or something, I think I would have been more offended.
Sacrifice a goat.
That's great. How about you, Lexi?
I think that when my husband started talking about the Church of Satan a lot, well, you have to kind of know my husband. He's an artist, and there are 50 things in his brain all at once, and his attention span for things is fairly short. So
no, really?
I don't know. I guess I just sort of thought it was just something that he'd be interested in for a little bit, and then he'd move on to something else. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't really think
when we
positively or negatively about it.
When we met, I was playing in a band that was wearing pentagrams on stage all the time.
I wasn't
and stuff,
surprised.
So probably just didn't really think. Probably thought it was just part of the package.
Yeah.
So to speak.
Yeah, pretty much.
Awesome. Lori, how about you?
Well, it's interesting because I come from a Hasidic background.
Like Matasiyahu?
Kind of, but maybe more traditional.
Okay.
And I rebelled from my family by becoming Catholic. That was my rebellion, right? So I was a religious person. I was our God is a mighty God type girl.
Yep.
So as someone who came from a Hasidic kind of background and then rebelled in high school by being Catholic, I was definitely more of I wouldn't really see myself marrying someone who was Church of Satan like that. I wanted a traditional Jewish wedding, the whole shebang. But on our second date, we both had these two really big S words. And so when he came out and he's like, Oh shit! Now you got to take my name out of
I
that
will.
too. Okay. So when he came out and he said, "Well, Lori, you know, there's something really serious I have to tell you." He's like, "I'm a Satanist." I was so relieved because I was like, you know what? I'm a socialist, so that works out. You know? So between the two of us, you know, this socialist Jew and a Satanist, we're going to have the Antichrist.
That sounds like the start of a joke, though. You know.
I know. So it worked out.
Satanist, socialist, and a Jew walk into a bar.
Exactly. Walk into a coffee shop, but yeah. So it was a relief for me.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That's awesome. Robert, top that.
Yes. Well, as I said, it's been many years, but and Lucian had not identified as a Satanist early on. He's always been the way he is, which is a complete individual and, you know, marching to his own, you know, the beat of his own drum.
Mm-hmm.
And when he, you know, and he's always been interested in so many different things that when you know, he started reading, when he read the Satanic Bible and, you know, said, this is I am, this is describing me, you know, I just took it like, oh, well, you know, it's the flavor of the month. This is what he's into this month. And, you know, I was raised an Irish Catholic, so that was completely antithetical to anything, you know, I understood. But I didn't, you know, I guess I rolled my eyes and just figured that that would pass. But then I sat down and read the book, and, you know, it was very descriptive of the way Lucian has always lived his life.
So I'm getting this kind of overall thing that, you know, significant others have read the book themselves to understand it, and they haven't identified with it as far as, you know, hey, I feel the same way about these things. Maybe I'm a Satanist as well. So I was just interested in your thoughts about reading it. Like what, you know, can we go into that with each of you? Maybe talk about, you know, what were your thoughts when you read the book? Jen, let's start with you.
Starting with me?
Yeah, why not?
I actually liked it. I saw what Jared was saying about everything in there and how he saw himself in it. And I know there are a lot about it that I see in myself, but maybe not quite as strong as Jared. Mm-hmm. The whole reason I haven't taken it a step further and like applied to join and all of that is because I'm not just going to join something just because he is. And I want to read more of what's out there on it. But I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, I don't know.
That's good. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. Lexi, what do you got?
She ain't got shit.
You know, I can. I definitely see the appeal. It's just I don't know. There's just a couple hang-ups that I have, but.
Ooh, what are they?
Just kind of like the selfishness of it. I don't know. It's hard for me to put myself first, I guess. I'm always taking care of others, and that part of it is hard for me. That's the big one, I think.
Okay.
Which, of course, I mean, you know, we would argue that, you know, that just means that that's your fulfillment.
Right.
Your self-fulfillment.
I was going to say that, but I don't know how deep you wanted to get into it.
No, I mean, you know,
yeah.
It's just one, you know, in our house, it's, and I'm sure it is with probably everyone's, it's just something that there's no reason to push it as much as.
Oh yeah.
I admire couples, you know, I mean, like John, I love seeing, you know, you and your wife just having kind of a unified front, having your certificates hanging up together. It's like it's a family thing. It's really cool to see, but I'm not going to push for it because
right, you should.
It's an individual thing. So, you know, like, you know, if I say something, she's like, well, I don't think I necessarily agree with it. Hey, you know what? The bookshelf is full. You're welcome to check it out. Otherwise, It's not a big deal.
Right. It's not at all. Right. As long as it doesn't affect your, your relationship in a negative way or anything like that, that's perfect.
And actually,
Well,
I still hold. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think the whole purpose of it is, I mean, as far as my take on it is, LaVey didn't want us to do this by rote, verbatim, word for word, step by step plan for living life as a Satanist. I mean,
Right.
She doesn't have to agree with you, and whatever she does agree with is what she's taking and leaving the rest, and which is what we all do to some extent, and none of us practice the same way.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I actually, and I think we just lost Jen there, but we actually were out to dinner with Jared and Jen last week, and I kind of made the comment that just the way that my wife tends to approach life and the way that we tend to approach a lot of situations, that I would hold that she is one and just doesn't know it.
Right. And I wanted to point out, I think it's extremely selfish of her that she feels the need to take care of everyone else. What'd you say? She's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
That's funny. Lexi. That's awesome.
All right, so
Lori.
So Robert.
All right. I was going to do the ladies
trying
first.
to switch up our orders here.
All right, do that. Let's do that. Robert, go ahead.
Well, I had all these preconceived notions, as I'm sure most of the world have, about Satan and Christianity, and so I was really not on board with it at first. But when I read the book, and Lucian had been saying these things his whole life, our whole life together.
Yeah.
And there were times when I was reading it where I was like, these sound like things that he's espoused his whole life,
right? And
that he probably could have written. It sounded like things that he would have written himself.
Yeah.
So and I when I gained an understanding of the way LaVey wrote about the tenets of the Church of Satan, I gained a greater understanding of that it's not about an anthropomorphic being, who's right. All-encompassing evil, and a lot of the things I learned so much from Lucian, in just the way that he lived. He's taught me, and I think I have adapted a lot of the philosophies into the way I live now, although I don't identify as a Satanist.
Right.
I believe that I need to take care of myself first.
Right.
Before I can be of any use to anybody else.
Exactly.
I appreciate the physical world and everything. I'm not living to be a good spirit when I leave here. I'm living for this life now, to enjoy all that the universe has given me, in my physical world.
You don't want to learn how to play harp?
Pardon me?
You don't want to learn how to play a harp?
No, I just like listening to Lucian play the harp.
He actually has potential,
Awesome. Okay. Well, gravity.
Somebody's juggling.
Yeah.
All right. Lori, what about you? What's your apprehension to it?
What's my apprehension to it? That's the question. I get a different question, huh?
That was the question,
the question
wasn't it?
was if you read it,
more or
if
less.
you read the book.
Yeah, I didn't ask that question.
But
no, you did
see,
say.
I'm a therapist. I'm always listening. No, it was part of it.
I guess it was. Sort of. It was you read the book. What is it that your opinions on it? Obviously, leads to apprehension.
Well, I haven't read the book, so There you go. I
You
haven't read it because
Oh.
I'm a Jew, and
Oh,
I don't.
Jews
I don't,
can't read? I didn't know that.
Well, okay, so there we go.
That's
Well, no, because I don't see the reason. I mean, my husband explains to me his take on it, and in my religion, I don't need to read his book. I can have him tell me about it, and I respect it. But I'm not going. My religion's also an ethnicity. I'm not going to change who I am. So he's on his path with it. I'm on my path with mine.
You should look into Anton LaVey's ethnicity.
Well, that's his journey, and that's not for me to judge or care
No,
about,
that's
really.
totally fine. Yeah, that's fine. We're just messing with you, of course.
So honestly, the biggest thing is surprisingly to me, and I was talking. Am I allowed to say Blanche's name?
Yeah, everyone knows that.
Okay. All right. I was talking with Blanche about it, and there's really a lot of overlaps between Judaism and Satanism, and I think that's why my husband and I actually are able to make it work, because there are so many overlaps between our different, I guess, lifestyles, beliefs, religions, whatnot. And I think the most apprehensive part of me is I feel like there's this cynicism and defensiveness, which makes sense. I can empathize with that. But sometimes as someone who does belong to kind of more established traditional religious affiliation, I guess, I'm Jewish, not Jewish. Sometimes though I do feel like I mean, even as soon as I said it, responding to your question, I was met with a joke, right? So it gets a little awkward in that regard. I feel like I'm constantly trying to say, hey, wait, not all religious people are idiots. Hey, wait.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Let's not just blame people because they believe in God. And, I could get into a whole thesis on what God is, how God is defined in the Jewish religion, which I won't do here for time. But, I think it's almost a knee-jerk reaction, which would make sense given the way society mislabels the Church of Satan.
Nah. I'd be interested to hear that. Seriously, not today, but
no, it's not going to happen because I'm really tired and I worked all day, and I'm not getting paid. It's $2.50 an hour, as long as Affordable Care Act is in place, and then it'll be $500 an hour.
That's fun.
Nice.
Awesome.
Well, I'd be interested in hearing reactions to maybe if you guys have been to any events. I know. When Jared and I took our wives to the Devil's Reign this last year, and Peter gave a pretty powerful speech, and once he threw in the "Hail Satan" and the whole crowd responded, I saw my wife and Jen look at each other like, "Holy fuck, they really do this?" So I'd be interested in hearing, I guess what everyone's responses and ideas are about if you've been to an event and what your opinions and thoughts were on.
I know, Lori, when we come out to visit Zach and everyone and have the rituals.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, I'm sure you hear us out there. So.
The events are. My house is the venue. So.
Yeah.
So can I respond first?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we're switching it up.
Okay, so I'm not. I guess transparency and honesty. The first, am I allowed? You'll edit out anything I say that you don't want to represent you. So, the first time I saw the hoods and the masks, I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I was like, "They have hoods." And is this shit? And Judaism is super let's open the ark and take out the sticks, kiss the Torah. So we have our own Halloween parade. I'm not gonna, I don't mean to be dismissive at all. I just was at the first time, I was just oh my God. So at first I was kind of pulled back again to that cultural stereotype that society has, is Bobby Hill gonna come out and we're gonna have a King of the Hill moment and the Dungeons and Dragons. But, yeah, and there was this also moment where, my door frame has a mezuzah on it, and I'm sure Adam can talk about, or whoever your name is on this broadcast, can talk about, you walk into my house and here's like all this stuff written in Hebrew and there's like these stars of David. And then you get into the garage and there's like a satanic altar and there's like knives and stuff. And I know my neighbors can hear Hail Satan because I can hear it inside my house. So I live in like the whitest, waspiest neighborhood where as a Jew I'm already afraid. So, sometimes I do have that kind of, I actually come out and yell at them like this little old lady, like, you guys need to be quiet, you need to turn it down. And who's watching these damn kids?
Wouldn't that be hilarious in the middle of a ritual? You guys need to keep it down.
Actually, I have come out and been like, who's watching the damn kids? I think I pissed a few people off. But yeah, it's just my knee-jerk reaction, probably just because things are funny to me in general, is that like the idea that like here I am in this super Wonder Bread neighborhood with these people who freak out about like little old ladies going through their recycling bin for tin cans. But little do they know that in this Jewish person's garage, we're having Hail Satan and I don't know if there's naked altars or what, but shit's going down. To me, so it's hard for me to like, because I want to take it very seriously. I don't want to be dismissive at all, because I know it's very serious, and I respect that. But at the same time, it's like more like the societal the hilarity of it happening within the pigeonhole that society has created. It's more like I find my neighbors hilarious.
Right.
Like we can't just go out and be like, hey, guess what? You want to, like if we were singing gospel, I'd open up that garage door and. And the fact that it's even relegated to a garage in like Wonder Bread suburbia. Like we can't rent out a VFW. Like I don't know.
Oh man! All right.
Robert, what about you? Robert, have you been to any events?
I did go to one. I don't remember the exact circumstances of it, and I found it very interesting. It was I'm interested in all kinds of different spiritual endeavors, spiritual quests, and so I found it very interesting. People weren't dressed in hoods. I mean, the people who were facilitating it had some measure of costume on, and there was chanting and singing but I found it interesting, and we too, we have an altar in one room, and that's great. I am not a practicing Catholic or Christian, but I do. Hello.
Hey, everyone, everyone's mic is on, so watch what you're doing next to Mike.
Yeah. Okay. But. I in the other room I have religious icons. I love religious iconography, although I don't practice, what I was raised. Mm-hmm. So, I'm very open to all of it. I did find some of it when we watched the films. I found some. I laughed when I saw the cowl with the horns. I feel like in a way, LaVey made it a hard road to hoe for himself by first of all calling it a church and then also Satan, using the term Satan, because of all the preconceived notions that come along with those two things. But so. Those are just some of the problems I had with it, but in general, I'm open to it. It just isn't, and as I said, a lot of the tenets I agree with. Once you clear away all the sort of
religion part,
the religious, and the ritual. I mean, and Lucian's had rituals in the other room, and I just stay in here and. Close the door.
Well, I gotta say, I take just a little exception to that. I mean, hey, let me ask you, how many people have got their ritual cows on with the horns right now?
None.
Okay, I guess that's me. But I'm not wearing anything else.
And I'm fine with that.
Oh
Nice.
boy, Jen. Maybe you and Lexi can tag team and because you were at the same event. So if you want to like all both pipe in, that'd be cool.
With me though, I went to Devil's Reign the last 2 years, and the first year was completely different than last year's. And I think I was caught off guard last year because they didn't have the chanting and the so much of a show the first year.
Right.
Right.
But it
Yeah, I don't know if I don't remember if Peter even really gave a speech at that first one.
I don't think he did. I thought it was just, I don't know, it just seemed more like an art gallery type of feel the first time.
Right.
And this last time it was very much a show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when the chanting and the Hail Satans all started, I was like, what the hell is going on right now?
Yeah. Well, and I mean, Satanism is one of the few religions that would be honest about the showbiz aspect.
It was, I think what threw me off was that, you know, Peter was giving his speech and everybody was doing the Hail Satans, and that was kind of always my, one of my biggest issues with church was, you know, the priest standing up and doing his thing and everybody answering back in the same thing. Like it, you know, it just seems, that part always seemed cult-ish to me, and like you're trained to do it, not, you know, it's not like something that's just like coming from you naturally. It's something that like, oh, here, we're supposed to say this now.
Well, let me.
And that's
I can
always
see
been weird
that.
to
I can
me.
understand.
I understand that. Let me say something really quick though. It's a different thing with the Satanism thing than we do. It's not with other religions. It is kind of cultish to me too, and they're blindly following and things like that. But when we say "Hail Satan," we're not following anyone. We're essentially saying "Hail myself, hail me." So it's more of a leading than following.
Well,
thing.
yeah, but I mean, at the same time, from the outsider's perspective, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
I'm sure it sounds like that.
And you know, I mean, when I think I know we hate to compare it to this, but if Peter's giving a speech and he says it and we repeat it, it's also kind of like an amen. It's our version of it. Like it's kind of us saying we agree with you, we agree with what you just said. You know.
Right.
Well, also, I just want to throw in, too, that, you know, if you look at any kind of culture, from primitive to some of the modern adjunct, I guess what they would call adjunct religions or spiritualities, really a major part of them is not only living the philosophy and enacting it every day in your life, but the use of ritual is inherent in making one. The repetitiveness is right there. It's to enlighten you. It's to heighten the experience. Anything you repeat, anything you chant, will bring you to a higher state of awareness. So
Sure,
I don't know that I equate the church with that when in terms of how we do rituals, or at least how I do. I'll speak for myself. How I do rituals, it's all about getting to that higher state of understanding, of looking inward to look outward to see the world rather than outside to find what's in.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Sure. Plus, my wife was talking about chanting, but she coached cheerleading for years, so we know they chant.
Give me an A.
Nice.
That's great. Let me ask you. Well, I got a question because I'm always wondering about this sort of thing. You guys are not. You don't identify as Satanists, so when your families, who also probably don't identify as Satanists, found out that your husband was a Satanist, did they give you, you know what I'm saying, like behind the scenes to yourself type of thing, any flack for it or anything like that?
Yes.
Who said yes?
Jen.
Jen? Go ahead then.
Yeah. I don't know if they didn't like give me shit about it, but they definitely questioned me about it a lot more privately than in front of Jared.
Of course.
Did they by then though? They probably knew him fairly well, didn't they?
I think, yeah.
Or was that early on in your actual dating relationship?
2013.
2014. So they knew me somewhat.
Yeah, they did, but it was still they get hung up on the word Satan.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course, because my family, my mom's side's very Catholic, and my dad is not necessarily religious, but still kind of against the whole. Well, if it's not about the devil, then why did they name it that? Type of thing. I took a trip a year ago with my dad, and like half of the trip he was talking to me about it. And it was just my dad and me, and I'm like, what? Why don't you talk to Jared about it? He knows a lot more about it than I do. I just started reading the books.
The funny part about that is my own dad actually comes to her to ask questions about it behind the scenes instead of coming to me.
Of course.
So
she's easier to talk to.
Suddenly, everyone now is hiding from me for a split second, and Jen has to like be my connection to the world. Be like, no, it's not what it means. But ask Jared, and no one asks Jared.
No. But I've also had like extended family see little things on Facebook, and like they'll call my mom and be like, "What are they raising their kids as?" You know.
Why is that two profiles?
Well, I think you also have to look at. I'm sorry, did I interrupt somebody? I think you also need to look at the fact that, why did they use that word? Well, and the 4,000-year-old of the version of the Bible, the Torah, they had shaitans, and a shaitan was someone who didn't agree with the mass perception. Anybody could be a shaitan. 2,000 years later, in the New Testament, when they were converting pagans and trying to make everybody a Christian. To a great extent, they renamed it Satan and made it that anthropomorphic devil that everybody began to fear, and which they proselytized to the masses to convert them. And so, therefore, the Satan part of it is really to describe us as who we are as individualists. We are all individuals. I said none of us practice the same way. And the fact of the matter is that we are all individualists and live our lives according to what we select from the literature and the philosophies of Anton LaVey, and incorporate into our lives. We live in a different time. I mean, I was a child in the 60s. He was a grown man. My life was at a slightly different stage in history than his. But I was still able to grow up with a lot of those philosophies that long before I had read that book. I mean, even as a kid, I think my mother was a Satanist. She used to think by what I used to call, she thought common sense was common. She lived by what was called uncommon sense because it worked much better for her. And I'm incredibly grateful for that because she taught me to think outside of the box. And I think that the word Satan is really a bastardization. I mean, if you look at who came up with that word in the New Testament, if there is such a thing as evil, then you have to look at where it's coming from.
But why do you pick something you always have to defend?
Well, because
it sets you up to
anyone who wants to make a difference defends something that they believe in, whether it's something the mass perception doesn't agree with or not. I mean, in the 60s, you had the 5 rebels, Abby Hoffman, Gloria Steinem, Angela Davis, Timothy Leary, and Anton LaVey. And they all picked different areas of life. And if they hadn't done it, you wouldn't have women's lib, you wouldn't have, equality and ethnic equality, you wouldn't have the freedom to express yourself sexually, you wouldn't have political statements, political activism against the establishment when the establishment goes wrong.
The other thing to keep in mind is we've been black sheep since we were born. That's just part of being a Satanist. We've been defending ourselves long before we ever had a title. So once we got the title, we were finally excited about something, and being true Satanists, we had to defend that too.
Right.
Yeah.
It's an interesting.
And we had to get a date.
Yeah.
We had to somehow figure out how to date too.
Yeah, I was too late.
I got my date first.
It's not the answer to the question, but from a psychotherapist, it would be fun to do like a psychotherapy podcast with you guys. Because it's very interesting.
Let's do it.
I'll do that.
Well, I'm the licensed one, so you know.
No, as far as us, my wife.
I am a licensed one.
Oh, you are really?
Indeed, I am.
Awesome.
Okay, hold on.
Running the show.
Hold on, guys.
99.
All right.
1991.
Oh, cool.
Okay, hold on. All right. Lexi,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, my family. No, I don't think. I'm not sure if everybody even knows. I think they probably have ideas, but
some do.
Nobody
and
has.
no problem.
Yeah, like my dad knows. Like nobody has expressed any issues with it at all.
Oh, he lives in the same house as us.
Okay,
Here's me right now.
So they're cool with it, but I know, Dorian, you hide it from your family, so they don't.
Yeah, I don't see any value in
But they,
hurting my mom.
right? But they know already, right? But you're just hiding it, or they don't know.
I don't
at all?
know. Basically what it is the connecting the dots to it is pretty.
What's going on around here? Who is that?
It's got to be New York again, right?
Yeah, that's New York. We live on a truck route.
All right. So anyway, I don't. The trail to connect the dots to find out is real simple. So I mean, if my family wanted to figure it out, they could, but I'm not going to wave it in their face, sort of thing, I guess.
Oh, okay.
I've got 2 profiles because I conduct business as well. So
yeah.
Sometimes you got to cautious who you deal with.
So Satanists generally have a really strong aesthetic eye, in my opinion. All of the Satanists that I've met have a very strong aesthetic eye. Do you find that you clash when it comes to decorating your house together or buying?
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Zach.
Yeah. Our wedding color was was dark purple and black and red.
My Zach?
That's your Zach. Yeah.
Okay, wait. He needs to know the rules because he's been. You need to take a time out.
Time out? I just got here.
I know, and that's the unfortunate part.
Keep going. This is gold.
You are not saying my name on this thingy because if any of my clients heard my name in the distant future, it would be a very bad situation.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah, Lori.
Or if you say my okay. You guys don't even know.
Yeah, we're good. We know.
Okay, so now it makes sense why he was laughing because I was about to laugh back. Ah! For our style clash. Okay, keep going. It's your turn.
But yeah, I like dark colors. She likes warm colors. Decorating the house is always a fun. It's always fun. Anytime we go to IKEA, she just the other day she said that looks way too vaginal. I said it's just a leaf. It's just a leaf on a bowl. It doesn't look that vaginal.
It's a pussy. It's a pussy. It's a pussy.
Oh boy.
But yeah, again, there's that whole aesthetic too, just in how we carry ourselves. I mean, I'm not sure what you mentioned earlier, just about our personality types. I mean, I like to go to parties. I'm more of an extrovert, and she's more of an introvert. And yet, when we're around people, in a comfortable setting, she is way more off-color humor than mine is. I like to shock people to an extent, but she sometimes she really kind of out-independence me in terms of not caring if somebody finds something funny or not. She's a true independent spirit. That's why I love her so much.
All right, Robert, how about you?
Well, Lucian is always been an artist, and he does have an incredible eye, and he has a much stronger designer, decorator gene than I got. Although I am artistic as well, but he comes up with the concepts, and if I generally, our tastes are kind of similar, although he's much more outlandish than I am, but I generally go along with it. And like I said, one room is very, very satanic, and the other one is kind of celestial and serene.
Mhm.
So, we have a good balance in the house. But he's very considerate in his decoration. Although he does most of it, he does consider me, and he takes into consideration what I like and what he knows about me before making any changes.
Oh, that's nice.
But it's a really, he strikes a very great balance.
Cool.
I love our house.
Awesome.
That's nice to hear.
That's good. Lexi, what do you got?
I mean, obviously Dave's the artist and I'm not, but as far as like our tastes in decorating go, I don't think that we really clash at all.
We got a total beach vibe.
Yeah, we both like the beachy vibe, so we have a lot in common as far as that stuff goes.
Cool.
I have a personal space. I've got a den. It's always my need is to have my own little niche somewhere, and the rest of the house I don't really care about. So.
Like a man cave?
No, man. I'm a grown up. I don't have a man cave. I have a study. I have a den. I have a place where my posters that I've made can hang on the wall, or whatever. I mean,
yeah.
But other than that, yeah. I mean, like we're both beach bums, so
that's awesome.
It's not much of an issue here.
Yeah. Jen, what do you got? I know I've seen some of the video from doing Third Side with Jared. It looks like you decorate the entire house.
I do. He doesn't care at all.
That's what I figured.
But we have pretty similar tastes. Probably not our bedroom right now, because I completely did the opposite of what we normally do, and it's going to change back because I don't know that I like it. But for the most part, he just doesn't care. I'll ask him questions like, hey, what do you think of this? And he's like, I don't care. So I get to decorate.
Awesome.
Pretty much, yeah. It works out.
That's good.
Yeah. I find and I go for teal a lot. I mean, I like purple. She likes orange and yellow and bright colors like that.
You mean Lori?
It's kind of like teal. Yeah, Lori. Lori. Yeah,
Can we just say really quick that this is just so typical Satanist right here? Is that like it's a spouse's interview, and then like my husband shows up, and now he's talking for both of us. Just saying.
That's typical Satanist.
Maybe it's just typical my husband.
It could be typical your husband.
I don't mean to generalize.
I'm using that.
Am I wrong? Do you not like turquoise?
Am I wrong? Is this not spouses of the Church of Satan?
Okay, I'm sorry. It was supposed to be a spouses only show. I'm sorry, John. Why didn't you tell me? I wouldn't have joined.
I did. Don't blame it on me.
Can I join?
Yeah, you can join, but I said if someone.
Yeah, sure. Everyone's on. It doesn't matter.
I wrote.
Okay.
That's all right.
That's fine.
We don't want to start a domestic dispute. We just want
No, you won't start
No,
it.
I'm
You
fine.
won't start it. We'll end it.
A therapist and a Satanist were arrested today.
I'll tell you though, I think it really goes back to what LeVay said. The aesthetics. I've never apologized for anything that I've done or said, or because it was never mean-spirited, unless of course they deserved it. And I make no apologies for the way I live. I mean, you walk into this apartment, and I think Robert described it really well. But I mean, it's like Vincent fucking Price lives here. You know what I mean? It's like it's got antiques and Gothic this and Gothic that everywhere you look. I'm also a collector. I'm like the Forrest Ackerman of like 79th Street in Manhattan. I've got all these film artifacts and these wonderful things to look at. And I get 3 comments when people come in here. They either say, oh my God, it's like a museum in here. Or they'll say, wow, you must have smoked a lot of pot in the 70s. Or the third one is, oh my God, he's a 12-year-old boy. You know, I mean, one person called it the den of iniquity, which I thought was
a compliment.
Feather
Yeah.
in my cap.
Excellent.
You know,
Yeah.
Not knowing what they were saying.
It's like, thank you.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it's really about surrounding yourself with the things you love, and if you guys are happy with what you're doing, that's all that matters. You know, you come together on any of it, then you both are surrounding yourself with the things you love. I surround myself with the things I love, and again, I make no apologies for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, speaking of that happiness and surrounding yourselves with the things you love, you guys, I want to thank you guys for all coming on, the spouses of Satanists. May you continue to be blessed, if that means anything to anyone.
Yeah, sure.
Well,
At least one person.
It does. It's
You know what I mean.
Oh, we do know what you mean. But John, Adam, Jared, everybody, it's really been great to be on the show with you guys. I've personally really loved hearing what you guys had to contribute.
Awesome.
And I thank you all for asking me and Robert to be on. It's you know, it really is important, I think, in getting these messages out to the world of what things really are, not what they just appear to be, because of skewed perceptions. And I think you guys are doing a terrific job with every show you do. You're making it so clear what this is about, not what they want it to be. And I really respect it. I think you guys are doing one, well, hell of a job.
Thank you.
But,
Thank you.
But you are. I really mean that sincerely.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's awesome.
I think John's head is already big enough. He doesn't need any more.
That's
praise.
because I was Caesarean born. Can't do anything about that.
No, it's great. I'm glad to you know, just say to people that we have, you know, a marriage that is not just built, but is a constant project. We're constantly figuring out new things to do together and new things we have to work on together. Isn't that right, Lori? I'm not blowing smoke, am I?
You're supposed to be quiet and let them ask the questions. That's how this works.
I think that's what makes life interesting. Difference of opinion. You go apart, you come together, and you share what your differences. And I think that's what makes us all. That continues to keep us interesting to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is the one thing that.
Hey, my wife is the one person that I don't get tired being around. So.
Likewise.
What do you mean the one?
Yeah, dude.
Talk too much.
Around your wife either.
Lori, thank you for coming on. Lexi, thank you. And Jen, thank you so much.
And Robert.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Okay, everyone. Hail Satan.
Yeah,
Hail Satan.
Spouses.
Hail spouses. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
Good. They're talking.
I got it. All right. All right, guys. Go with God. Don't take any wooden nickels.